Welcome, fans, to the pro wrestling reality. For those who have been die-hard fans of this major industry during the peak of that early to mid 1990s era, we're certainly sure to have taken notice of the violent, deranged, and groundbreaking act of Mick Foley. At this time in entertainment history, especially when it came to that major industry that we often discuss, the fans were becoming more bloodthirsty, wanting to see their favorite entertainment superstars take bigger risks, shed more blood. And for the better part of 30 plus years now, no one has been able to fill those needs for fans more than Foley has. From his early years performing in that original Philadelphia-based promotion, to his time being prominently featured on that major $1 million entertainment promotion, he took unprotected chair shots to the head, would launch his body from the ring apron onto the concrete floor, which in most instances most likely took its toll on Mick's body, and perhaps his mind as well. As much of his body, mind, and soul Foley gave for this industry, the fans wanted more. One of the most frightening moments of Mick's career, and perhaps in all of industry history, was the night Foley was thrown off the top of a customized steel cage structure by industry Hall of Fame legend Mark Undertaker Calloway. After Foley once again risked his body and career to entertain the fans, he would not stop there and would find himself upping the ante again, this time during a high-profile main event Royal Rumble program with entertainment megastar Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. In a disgusting display, Johnson, both in front of national live TV audiences and fans in attendance, would violently strike Foley in the head over 10 times with a metal steel chair. Third-party accounts, along with fans in attendance that night, report that the actions on display by Johnson were so vile that parents were rushing their children out of the arena. Those now who are calling for Johnson to take on that role of President of the United States in the near future need to closely look back at this shocking event, as Johnson has never explained his actions, and even Foley himself has mentioned on numerous occasions that Johnson never apologized for this violent, unscripted assault that Foley did not agree to. Sometime later, is highlighted in a very popular documentary covering this industry, it was revealed that during that Royal Rumble main event match, Mick's daughter was exposed to Johnson's violent actions toward her father. She witnessed her own father now brought to his knees at the hands of Johnson, while receiving one vile chair shot after another. After these two horrifying highlights of Mick's controversial career, and also when he was able to review the footage of his own daughter, in tears over his high-risk in-ring behavior, Foley started to tone things down significantly when it came to his once groundbreaking and violent style in the ring. Foley, in the later stages of the career, would trade CTE, inducing chair shots to the head, for guest appearances on major Disney teen drama Boy Meets World, violent tumbles onto the concrete floor for the chance to become a spokesman for children's lunch alternative substitute, Chef Boyardee, and chilling and passionate promos for a Santa costume and a more stumbling, bumbling, heart of gold, family-friendly persona. Although in recent years, the layers have been pulled back, and many within the industry claim that behind the scenes, Foley isn't that golly gee, oh shucks person who he portrays himself to be. Behind the cameras, it has been quietly whispered by various major entertainment personalities that behind the holly jolly exterior, Foley is political, cutthroat, and calculating when it comes to his business affairs and world views. Foley, especially in the more recent years, has had no issues spreading his political views openly, especially with his various public social media postings. In a seething Twitter post, Foley publicly asked for polarizing former U.S. President Donald Trump to be removed from that major entertainment company's Hall of Fame by saying, and I quote here, "How about throwing this sorry son of a blank out of our Hall of Fame?" He also publicly denounced opposing extremist political movements by saying, "If you're a white supremacist, please unfollow me," thereby excluding possible longtime fans who may have alternative views and lifestyles, and stopping them from keeping up to date with Foley's activities and appearances. Scattered between the angry rants are social media postings by Foley positively embracing the fans, speaking passionately regarding various charity endeavors and non-profit organizations as well as speaking up for people struggling with various disabilities. And he also is often seen taking the time to openly embrace and celebrate the common everyman. Recently now, at the height of that recent significant global medical controversy Foley was extremely vocal in relation to important choices that the fans of this industry should be making during that recent medical crisis. Foley was encouraging longtime fans to follow his lead when it came to choosing whether or not to make that monumental medical decision. While conducting this investigation, especially in relation to Mick's strong stances regarding his public views on his influence on fans who may be navigating that recent global medical crisis, we reached out to social media to ask fans how they felt regarding Mick's plea for fans to make that crucial medical decision. Our poll asked if fans would be willing to make that monumental medical decision if Foley told them that they needed to essentially follow in his footsteps. The results showed that 55% of fans would not choose to make that crucial medical decision based on Foley's political plea. And shockingly, 45% of fans, in fact, would follow Foley's demands when it comes to making that medical decision, even though Foley is not a respected medical professional, as he only holds a college degree in communications. We received a piece of feedback relating to this poll from industry follower, the Retro Pool Guy, who says, "I don't take advice from celebrities. It's gross how people worship them." Frighteningly, Foley's medical guidance would not stop there. During his recent podcast, Foley is Pod, with industry journalism giant Conrad Thompson, Foley has now been openly endorsing the male biological enhancement medication, Blue Chew. At one point during, good God, all the laughing and joking surrounding the medication, Foley does stop to say that we should mention the side effects of the medication. He then proceeds to make vulgar metaphors and not make listeners aware of the side effects at all, which allegedly include heart attack and stroke. A much more serious medical issue could arise than the comedy fodder that Mick and Conrad are now mentioning on their recent radio program. Now, recently, Mick, along with the entire Foley family now, are possibly facing another public major controversy, as the daughter now, Noelle Foley, on Twitter, made the announcement that she would be opening an OnlyFans account. And you know, Foley has got to be hot, as this could jeopardize Mick's wholesome, family-friendly image. Fans remember the during a segment featured on Mick's high-profile, nationwide reality show, Holy Foley, the daughter openly expressed her interest in posing for that record-breaking adult publication. And in a vile display, Mick started swearing up and down, and then, good God, spitting his false teeth all out onto the floor. Now, with the daughter's announcement of the OnlyFans account, years later, there could be concern for Mick's health, as he now moves forward into those later years. What's even more shocking was the response from fans in reaction to the OnlyFans announcement, some of which is truly sickening. To see the way fans openly express their biological needs in response to the announcement. And tonight, we will take a look at some of these comments and be aware that we have censored some of the more graphic language in these comments, which clearly shows what a lot of fans have on their minds. This fan says, "I'm gonna use Mr. Sacco for another purpose now," making reference to the sock puppet Foley would use in the later years of the career to entertain children. Another fan says, "You are a beautiful specimen, and I would gladly let you sit on my blank." Good Lord. Another longtime fan of this industry explicitly asks, "You show hole?" Not exactly sure what he is referencing here, or if there is perhaps a language barrier issue at play. This longtime fan expresses his desire by saying, "Looks blank and delicious." And my God, take notice of the age. He could be old enough to be Noel's grandfather. This fan says, "Wait a couple of weeks and see the same pics on Google or Reddit." He then goes on to explain openly that he will not renew his subscription if there are no nudes. My God, how do men come up with this crap? This fan says, "I bet you would love a nice cream blank too." In another sickening display, a fan says, "Blank, I've seen you as a baby in Beyond the Mat. I can't blank to you now." Good Lord. Another fan, seemingly with some sense, says Mick won't be happy about this. And I agree with that statement. It was later announced by Mick's daughter that the OnlyFans account was being used to cover medical costs. But what truly shocks me is the fact that Foley is no stranger to making those generous contributions to various causes. It has longtime industry fans shaking their heads, asking why Foley is not able to cover a portion of these expenses for his own daughter, instead of her essentially selling the body to fans. Wrestling fans, in relation to this whole situation, there is only one thing I can say for certain. After giving his body for this industry, being active in various positive endeavors throughout the years, and now having to witness the daughter openly selling her body, Mick has got to be hot. Especially when he gets wind of these messages from longtime fans lusting for those thrills.